Out west, I've really gotten a lot calmer, which is what British Columbia is supposed to be reputed for. And so I don't think I can recall being angry about anything for years. But in London, there were times when I was angry, and it shows up. And one of the things I've learned to do is there's no purpose to being angry. Being indignant is a good idea, and being righteous is a good idea. But being angry is not a way to convince people. So one of the things I've learned over the years is to try and enjoy and be calm about every conflict. So I must tell you, I'm having the time of my life right now. I really enjoyed working on my newspaper and pot TV in the store, and I've enjoyed the challenge of, like, I used to get $100,000 to $250,000 in revenue every month through my business, millions of dollars a year, which now I'm forbidden to be in that business, the seed business. So I've had to make all these businesses that I ran before with these subsidies self-sufficient, and it's been a challenge, but it's turned out to be a really good challenge, something that I really do need to have that discipline of making sure everything is efficient and making money. And I'm never worried about going to jail for, the United States wants me for 31 to 35 years according to federal sentencing guidelines. I've been referred to as a drug trafficking kingpin, the #1 drug trafficking kingpin in all of Canada. And when they raided me, they found no drugs, no guns, no money. There was no money in my bank account. There were no offshore bank accounts. The DEA later has admitted they're very surprised at all this. They thought they would find a fortune in assets and things lying around, and I gave away all that money. I gave away $4 million in the last 10 years to charities and groups and organizations that are promoting peaceful democratic change, and the whole idea was never to keep any of it anyway. So I personally haven't suffered a reduction in my lifestyle at all because none of the money was spent on me. So I am looking forward to my confrontation with the U.S. government. I've always thought of them as my arch enemy, just like out of the comic books I read when I grew up, you know, your arch enemy. And, you know, it's a very comic book term, but the United States government and the DEA represent all the things I spent my whole life opposing, so I'm glad I've got this really big, colossal battle coming up, because it sort of suits the comic book image I have of myself and of life generally.
Still ahead on Inquiry, Marc Emery on why the fight that could land him in jail for life is about more than lighting up a joint.
I'm not afraid of trouble or the consequences of one's advocacy. It's just I don't want to be in Canada anymore. The people here, I must say, kind of disgust me by their singular lack of courage in doing what's necessary to save this country from a terrible tragedy. And I think that's the waste of everything in this country: the manpower, the people power, the resources, the land, the opportunity. I mean, this is ultimately paradise we're in, and we're throwing it all away. Canadians are just so cowardly. They're not willing to sacrifice any kind of time, money, or effort to accomplish some substantial change in direction. And until they do, I don't even feel I'm welcome here. I really feel someone with my kind of lifestyle and perspectives and sense of independence is not welcome in Canada. You have to be a conformist, a yes person, and completely without any kind of ambition and free spirit to survive in this country, and I'm just not willing to tolerate that.
Maybe I could bring you some more of my writing.
Tonight on 8 Channel.
I see him reading all these books, and he's always writing.
The great.
I'm hoping anybody sees that they can do what I do. You can stand up to monolithic power or huge overwhelming forces and still make it look like that you're on, one person can neuter the negative effects of an evil empire. And as I pointed out, and this is what got me into trouble, is that I've boasted that the seeds I sold created more marijuana than the DEA has been able to destroy in the exact same period in 10 years. So they've wasted $20 billion. They've had thousands of people destroying this marijuana throughout the United States, tens of thousands of police officers rounding up, and I've been resuscitating our industry to defeat them. Just one person, me and Canada Post.
Welcome back to Inquiry. That was Marc Emery on how he hopes his battle to make marijuana readily available to everyone in North America inspires others to take up a cause. You could say Emery's always on tour, lighting up giant joints all over Canada in his continuing challenge to authorities. Police have obliged and arrested Emery at least a dozen times, but in what the 60 Minutes reporter called tolerant Canada, Emery typically spends at most a few days in jail on this side of the border. Last August, after Emery's $50,000 bail was posted, the leader and founder of BC's Marijuana Party went home. Emery had wound up in Canadian jail at the request of U.S. authorities accusing him of selling marijuana seeds over the internet to Americans. Here now, a typical Emery event, this one in Windsor in 2003, as reported by 8 Channel's Mike Drolet.
Here's the marijuana!
Marc Emery lit up a fat joint in front of police headquarters and then passed it around to the 200-plus supporters on hand. Earlier in the same spot, Windsor Staff Sergeant Dave Russell said police wouldn't be arresting him.
Well, we're obviously not pleased. It's not the message that we want going out to our community, especially our young people. But the law says we can't do anything, and that's where it's at.
I will sign everything, especially the Canadian flag.
Emery has become a celebrity in the pro-marijuana community. Windsor is the 14th Canadian city he's visited so far, and he says he'll continue to spread his message.
Yes, I believe everything he's saying. I think marijuana should be strictly legal. Gambling, escorting, smoking, alcohol, why can't we smoke a joint? It's clearly safer.
Still, not everybody at the rally agreed with his position.
Marijuana does not impair. Don't let anybody ever tell you.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Oh, I do know that.
It doesn't impair people, eh?
It does not impair. It enhances.
A May 16th ruling in Windsor upheld a court ruling that dismissed charges against a youth for possessing less than 30 grams of pot. What do American youth think? They say they're going to tell their friends to come over to Canada and light up. Would you have any problem walking up and down Olette Avenue in front of the bars, lighting up a joint?
Oh, we'll probably be doing it later on tonight.
As soon as we came downtown, we got out of the taxi, and some kid came up to us and said, "Hey, are you American?" We said, "Yeah," and he said, "Do you want some marijuana?" That was like the first person we met.
Well, despite Emery's epic battles over Sunday shopping and pornography, it's the legalization of marijuana that has been the cause of Emery's life. It was through his website that Marc Emery says he made millions of dollars selling more than 500 different kinds of marijuana plant seeds. Millions, he says, he gave away to various organizations, including marijuana political parties in other countries and the NDP here at home. Emery is the leader of the BC Marijuana Party and has run for mayor in Vancouver. He's also the founder of the magazine Cannabis Culture, and this master of attracting media attention is also the frequent star of his online TV channel, Pot TV.
It was a terrible, tragic day on the history of humanity, and that my job was solely to empower us to participate in politics, so that I ran for mayor in 1996 and 2002, so that I formed the BC Marijuana Party with a clear intent of participating at every level in elections in Canada.
On the 60 Minutes program, Larry Campbell, a Canadian senator and former RCMP drug squad officer, says he doesn't think Emery is a major drug trafficker. He went on to predict public outrage in Canada if Emery is extradited and imprisoned. When we come back, why Marc Emery firmly believes he's on his farewell tour.